Today I'm going to be breaking down how you can use Hybrid here at Townhall 11 to 3-star any base. So Hybrid is probably one of my favourite strategies here at Townhall 11 because it combines a factor of skill with that queen charge with the ease of the hogs and the miners. The strategy is fairly easy to learn and execute, and you guys can see the army composition on screen. It really isn't too complicated. So we're just going to jump in and break this down. So first things first, when you're coming up against a Townhall 11 base, there's a couple of things you're going to want to identify, and the most important of those are of course the multi-target infernos and those eagle artilleries. Now we want to make sure of course we are grabbing some of those key defenses with our queen charge, because your queen is looking to pick up as much value as possible, and in fact in all of these attacks we're going to look at today, she is the MVP of them. She's picking up huge value and she's able to snipe off a lot of buildings. So when you're setting up for an attack, whether this is trophy pushing or in a war attack, you're going to want to identify a section of the base you're going to take out with your queen. Now not only are you looking to get value by taking out these high value buildings, you're also looking to create a funnel. So if we go ahead and play this here, we will watch what we do. We're actually going to be coming in from that bottom section looking to take down this multi-target inferno here. But not only, like I said, take down the multi itself, we're also looking to take care of that funnel. So we're going to use a baby dragon over towards this left hand side of the base. That is to help funnel that queen. We want her to walk this direction, so we're using that baby dragon over there to clear a couple of those buildings. Super wall breakers of course can go in pretty much unaided. And there you can see it, the first of our spells is going to be used. So the queen's taking a lot of fire here. We've got the double expo on her, we've got a couple of cannons on her as well, and she's taking a lot of fire. Now we don't want to lose our queen ability early on in this one, so we're going to go ahead and use that rage spell. Also going ahead and dropping down a balloon. That is going to be to test for any of the black bombs or seeking air mines. Those seeking air mines can be lethal to your healers, and you'd rather you lose a balloon than a healer, because like I said, the queen, one of the most important parts of this attack. Now if we pause things up here, you guys can see lots of free buildings basically on the outside of this base, so we're going to be able to snipe them down with a couple of archers, a couple of wizards, fairly cheap troops for taking down a few buildings on the outside and helping create that funnel. But our queen has walked exactly the way we want her to. She's going to push in first on the expo and secondly on the multi-target inferno, and we're already looking ahead to the future. Once the queen is finished up here, we're going to want her to move into this compartment, and we've already used that super wall breaker there. Now if we pause things up, what you guys can see is we're going to clear up this right hand side of the base, which leaves this left hand side, but we do of course have something to deal with that. We have the king and the siege barracks, so we'll let the queen do her thing. She's going to be taking care of a few more buildings on that section of the base. We're waiting for the all important clan castle troops to come out. We definitely do not want those clan castle troops locking onto our hogs and our miners, especially if there's something like a dragon or an electro dragon in there. They can do a lot of damage. Queen's ability unfortunately going to get popped there just to avoid that single target inferno dragon, just regular inferno dragon. But you guys can see right there, here comes the rest of our funnel. King with the siege barracks going to be pushing up that left hand side of the base. Just let them do their thing. And here comes the hogs and the miners. Now we do need to be careful when pushing into these really high DPS sections of the base, because you'll see we've got 3 heroes in here. We have the king, the queen and the grand warden. We've got the double expo, the double cannon and the double splash damage, of course the bomb towers. So we have to be really careful when entering into a base. Don't be scared to use your spells pretty early on. You can use those hogs and the miners all together. We don't want to spread them out too much because we want them all to be inside the heal spells. Now when it comes to our Grand Warden himself, Eternal Tome ability, I suggest probably using the Healing Tome if you have it, but if not, the Eternal Tome will work as well. But unfortunately on this one, you guys can see we were a little bit late on our Eternal Tome and we lost a lot of our Hog Riders to that bomb tower at the top section. We did still have a good group of miners pushing around the back end, but actually the MVPs of this one are going to be the Hog Riders coming out of the siege barracks. You can use those free spells as and when you need to. Remember, you do still have a heal spell to help protect up those hogs. We're going to be raging through that multi-target inferno as well. If you don't need the rage for your queen to help her, you can use it on your hogs and your miners. But like I said, the queen really going to be the MVP of this one. She's pushed all the way from this bottom section all the way up and around to this top section, freezing up that eagle artillery in the core, and this one is going to be a 3 stars. So it shows even if you somehow manage to mess up your Grand Warden Eternal Tome ability, you lose quite a lot of hogs and miners early on, you're still going to be able to bring in those 3 stars. So we'll speed through the back end of this one. The next one we're going to look at is a little bit more dominant, where we're crushing the base. We keep a lot of our hogs and miners up. But this one was to show you that even if this strategy struggles, you're still going to be able to pick up those 3 stars if you execute the Queen charge. So here we go with the second example. Now this is a pretty interesting base. We of course see it pretty symmetrical. We've got that Eagle Artillery in the core. Again, the double multi-target Infernos. Typically you're going to be coming up against a lot of multi-target Infernos. And with these style of bases, if you start from a corner just like we are here, you can let your Queen decide which direction she's going to be going in. She can either go up to this top section, which means we'll deal with this multi-target Inferno, or she can go down to this bottom section, which means we'll deal with this multi-target Inferno. But regardless of what direction she goes, we are still going to get a multi-target Inferno. We have 3 super wall breakers coming through on this one. Those are going to be used to open up those compartments and hopefully take out the multi. But we're just going to let the Queen do her thing. There comes the super wall breaker again. Maybe a little bit late with that funnel coming in right there, but the Queen is still going to go the right direction, if I can get my words out, that we want her to go. We can use a balloon over here again, as and when we need to, just to test for any of those seeking air mines. But I am not keeping up with this attack because we have used our King and our Siege Barracks already at this top section of the base. But unfortunately, it looks like the King has actually made his way in to this kind of main push section. We actually want him to walk around the outside. And when it comes to equipment for the King, you'll see we've actually got all the basic equipment on our heroes, but for the King himself, I would definitely recommend that Vampire Stash. If you have it, the Vamp Stash, it is going to do wonders for your King because it's going to bring him back up as he funnels around the outside of the base. But we'll zoom out a little bit and we'll continue to play it with this one. You'll see Hogs and the Miners going to be pushing straight in towards that multi-target Inferno right there. Really nice and early with that heal spell. Like I said, you want to protect those Hogs and you want to protect those Miners. Queen doing her thing, keeping that funnel going. But if you haven't noticed, there is something we forgot in this attack, and it is of course the Clan Castle troops. Yeah, they're going to be causing us some issues. We do have that poison spell, but unfortunately on this one, that Inferno Dragon is going to cause us a few issues. So we're going to go ahead and use that poison spell to help try and take down a few of those archers and the witch in there as well. But unfortunately that poison not going to be quite enough to take care of the Inferno Dragon. But we did use that Eternal Tome ability that's going to help protect our Hogs and our Miners for a little bit. Queen still doing a grand old job down at that bottom section of the base. Another heal spell going to be coming in right there. We of course have the Hog Riders coming out of the Siege Barracks as a little bit of backup. We have the P.E.K.K.A.s and the Wizard pushing around that right hand side of the base. But this one looking pretty strong here, going to be double or freezing up, sorry, the double splash damage, the bomb and the Wizard towers on the back end of this one. Queen still with ability. We still have a rage spell as well, and you'll see this one very, very strong indeed. King ends up going down to that Inferno Dragon, but we still have a freeze to swag, and we have that Queen, and this one going to be finishing off as a triple. So we have one more example to help you guys to learn how to use hybrid here at Townhall 11. But if you are enjoying all of these videos here on the Barracks, make sure you guys head down and subscribe to us. We're just about to hit 100 subscribers, and I can't thank you guys enough for that. But let's jump in and we'll take a look at the last attack. So the last attack we're taking a look at today is a pretty interesting one, where we actually have the Town Hall all the way on the outside of the base, and these kind of anti-3 style bases, typically you're going to see these more in wars than you're going to see out when you're trophy pushing. But if you are doing war attacks, this is something you might come across, and it makes it very difficult to attack the base, especially when you've got these really wacky compartments in the core, because it's difficult to know where your Queen is going to funnel to. But the most important thing, like I said, is trying to pick off one of the multi-target Infernos if you can. So let's see what Russ is going to be doing here. It looks like that Queen's going to be coming in from that left-hand side, so we're probably aiming to get down towards this multi-target Inferno, though for my liking, yeah, we're starting quite far away. I'm not sure I'd be personally starting as far away as we are, but regardless, we are going to be pushing in. King's going to be coming in early on that top section of the base, which again, I'm not 100% sure I would have done. Maybe I would have brought another baby dragon just to funnel some of these buildings up the top, and then we can use our King over here with the Siege Barracks. But regardless, let's see how we get on this one. King's going to be doing that funneling. Queen is going to be taking out a couple more buildings. Air defense next, probably then the Dark Elixir Collector. But the aim here, like I said, value, value, value. We want to keep that queen alive. We want to let her pick off as many buildings as we possibly can. King's ability going to get popped off right there. You'll see, honestly, the barbarian puppet, probably one of the worst equipments you can use on the king. They really hardly get any value at all, but regardless, we're still going to be pushing on strong with our queen. We're actually going to see these siege barracks coming on the bottom section of the base, which isn't something I was actually anticipating seeing. I potentially would have also let the siege barracks do a little bit more funneling before bringing my hogs and miners in, but it looks like we maybe threw them in so we could try and actually funnel our queen in towards that multi-target inferno. Outcome all of those clan castle troops. Poison, of course, could be going down for them, but you'll see in this one, we are still going to be pushing on strong. I actually wonder if we were maybe looking to push our queen into this compartment to grab the double expo and maybe even move in towards that enemy queen. But so far, so good. We are looking pretty strong. We've already used that Eternal Tome ability. Because our queen charge is kind of combined with the hybrid portion of this attack, we're actually just going to use the rage spells down on them. Those healers can end up actually transferring over from our queen onto the hogs and miners sometimes, though in this particular one they're stuck on the Grand Warden, which is pretty typical. Multi-target inferno on the back end potentially going to cause a few issues, but we of course right there have that free spell, which we can use to take it down. We have that rage spell going to help those Hog Riders through a couple of those back end defenses. Queen is still with ability in hand, looking pretty strong. We do have that enemy queen on the back end with the enemy Grand Warden, so we need to potentially think about them on the back end. But the plan here, I'm not 100% sure what we were actually looking to achieve with that queen. We do end up taking down a couple of multi-target infernos, but in a bit of a roundabout way. So with your queen, you definitely want to make sure you can identify the buildings you're going to take down with her, because if you just kind of chuck her in and hope she's going to pick up some value, sometimes she might go the wrong way, sometimes she might get into the beam of a single target inferno, or even take too much fire and lose her ability early on. So definitely when it comes to this attack, you want to do a little bit of planning for your queen, and then you want to make sure you are funneling your hybrid portion of the attack properly with your king and with that siege barracks. You of course in the siege barracks want to have those high level Hog Riders coming out. They are going to help you get through some of those final defenses. But in this one you see another 3-star coming in. We've had 3 triples showing just how strong hybrid can be here at Town Hall 11. So if you did enjoy this video, head down and leave a like on it. Comment as well if you have tried out hybrid here at Town Hall 11, and until the next one, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.